if you have a criminal history, will your visa be granted? That can you apply for a visa if you were convicted of a crime? It could be a recent crime, or it could be maybe years ago. Now, the simple answer to that question is that your criminal history would be considered in your visa application. Even though it seems as if it is a red flag, it is not necessarily a deal breaker. And I would explain what I mean by that. So you must know that each country has its own, policies, requirements, and then what they don't want. They have a list of things, let me just break it down, that they do not want. They list the category of people that they do not want. For example, if you're convicted of stealing, if you're convicted of something, it would depend on the nature of the offense. So they would consider it, and you'll be required, because in most countries they would have you disclose. In most forms, they always have you disclose when you're completing your visa application form, if you have been convicted of a crime. And then you should be truthful, because if they find out that you lied, it would affect your ability to apply to that country in future. Not only would it affect the outcome of that particular application, it would also affect your ability to apply in the future. So you should tell the truth, because also sometimes telling the truth and providing the information, you want to speak to your lawyer also, because they would help you put up a nice defense or explanation, but then you want to disclose and provide that information up front. People like honesty. And so you would ask me, how would it be considered? Now, it would depend on the offense. It would depend on how severe the offense is. You would know that not all offenses, are the same. Let's say if it was an offense, an offense you go to prison for, let's say 2 years, is completely different from the one you go to prison for over 10 years. And so the nature of the offense, really matters, and then what came out of it. So they would consider, okay, this person, what kind of risk do they pose to our borders if we let them in? So they would check what you did. If it's an offense, that had a higher sentence, or was serious, they would not want you. Also, another thing would be the time that has elapsed and what you have become, what you have made of your life after your conviction. Let's say something happened, let's say 10 years ago, 20 years ago. They would look at you and say, yes, you had this, criminal, conviction, but what has happened after that? How long ago was this? And since then, who are you now? So they would consider your current status, at the same time, the nature of the offense, that you actually, were convicted for. But they would consider your current circumstances, and they would see, if you actually pose a risk to that country. If they don't think you do, and they think that you have turned your life around and made good of that situation, of course your visa application would be granted. Disclosure is one thing that they would appreciate if you offer that information upfront, and then you're able to provide an explanation as to why it happened, a detailed explanation. Don't do it by yourself. Don't be careless about it, because your own case is peculiar. You already have this thing hanging around your head, so you want to make sure at every point in time that you are, you seek professional help before you apply. Because if you speak to your lawyer, and then your lawyer is going to help you put up a better defense that would appeal to the visa officer, to give you, that visa application that you're applying for. So yes, it is a red flag, but it is not a deal breaker. You can still be granted a visa. Some countries have very strict policies, while others have more relaxed policies regarding criminal history. But most importantly, your ability to be truthful about it, and then provide the information that is required, and then the time that has passed since that conviction would be considered at all times, and would go a long way in helping, your visa, application. So I hope this was useful. If you know anyone that needs to say this, please forward it to them. And I wish you the best outcome, and I hope that you have turned your life around for good. Congratulations. Hi, my name is Otto Bongton, and I'm happy to present to you my new book, Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers. Now let me tell you a short story about a girl called Ayanti. Ayanti is a young African girl who grew up in a small village. Her favorite pastime was spotting planes in the sky while playing with other children. She would spend time watching planes soar and dreaming of the moment she would be on one. She filled her days with purpose because she knew her dreams would come true. No challenge felt too big for Ayanti, not because life was easy, but because her courage was always bigger than her fears. Now, 1 year changed everything, and it was the year Ayanti took her first international flight. She believed in her daydreams, not miracles, but it was a miracle that happened. Now, Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers is the story of that miracle. With each destination, Ayanti's view of the world expanded, and so will yours as you journey through the pages of this book. Imagine a world where courage fuels your dreams. Now, would you live it intentionally? Too often, we postpone our happiness, believing that it lies in achieving certain milestones or acquiring material wealth or rewards. Now, the truth is, our time here is brief, and that makes happiness urgent and not optional. This book is more than just an adventure. It is a tribute to resilience, passion, and the boldness it takes to create a life that feels like your own. Now, I hope this book inspires you to find joy in your everyday, and to fiercely protect the happiness that you have created for yourself, no matter the circumstances. Because here's the truth. We are not here long enough to live unhappily. Now, to get a copy of this book, you can go to www.workaholic.com, where you can order a copy of Girls Don't Travel Just for Flowers.